Hi, I'm Melissa Braun with Grant Wilfley Casting, and joining me today is,
Kaiya Lightner. I'm a casting assistant at Grant Wilfley Casting.
and this week we wanted to talk to you about some tips to increase your chances of being cast as background in film and TV. So, Kai, I want to talk about some tips in regards to email submissions.
Yes, so we often cast through email submissions. We'll usually post online first. So we actually receive a lot of emails from people saying that they want to work and they won't include their name, phone number, a picture, or any information. So we don't really know who we're talking to and we can't really cast them with just that. So it's best to always include a clear subject line. If it's coming from an online posting or Instagram, we will give you the subject line to put. If it's not, please indicate something clear as to what role and what project you are submitting to. And then you're going to need to also include all of the requested information. Even if you've answered these questions before in the past, we like to reconfirm everything again. So you'll want to put your name, your phone number, and attach a clear photo, a recent photo. And it's also helpful to include if you're a SAG member in good standing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really key to have all that information. So for GWCI.app, which is our database, which anybody can register with for free, if you're submitting via our database on gwci.app/talent, you want to keep your profile up to date. So while only one photo is required, we strongly recommend uploading at least two, one close-up and one three-quarter shot or one full body. So a close-up, a good close-up would be something like this. Not so close that all we see is your face, but something more like this. And then a three-quarter shot or a full body, we at least want to get from like top of your head to around your knees would be like a three-quarter, like that kind of thing, like mid-thigh area. But a full body would be like obviously head to toe. So either one of those would be really good as well. Beyond the required fields that you are required to fill out in our database, we encourage you to fill out as many fields as possible. The more complete your profile, the more likely you're going to come up in a search. So yes, of course, we go through the people who actually submit to the postings in the database, but sometimes we will just do a search and we can search by any field that you've entered. So for instance, if we're looking for ice skaters, we're going to search by that skill. If you happen to be an ice skater and you never actually put that in your profile, you're not going to come up in our search. So the more often you come up in searches, the more likely you will be cast, and we'll reach out to you to check your availability. So, and again, please be honest too. We always ask that you be honest. I personally cannot ice skate, so I would never mark that on my profile.
It won't hurt you if you're not able to do something. It'll only hurt you if you lie about it.
Yeah, it's not a good idea to say I could swim and then you get into the pool and it's not. Why don't you talk a little bit about rush call submissions?
Yeah, so sometimes we post for rush calls, which is a last minute, same day casting where we'll need you on set within only a few hours. And so that's when you'll see the rush call heading on our postings. When you submit to these, please again be sure to include all of the requested information, only if you are available that day and time. And please also make sure your phone is on you after you submit and that you're able to answer promptly because we're working in a small time window. So it's very useful for us if you are actually able to answer your phone and get there on time.
And going back to photo submissions, just some tips in general regarding photos. We must be able to clearly see your face. So no sunglasses, no hats. Preferably, we would prefer your hair to be down unless we've requested otherwise for some specific reason. Also submit photos that are appropriate to the role that you are submitting for. So for example, if you're submitting to play a business person, let's not submit that photo of yourself in the bathing suit for this particular role. The director and assistant directors are always asking for current photos. If we ask for a current updated photo, please do not send us the picture that's already been on your profile for several months or several years. We've seen that photo. We know it's not a new photo. They literally ask us, was this photo taken today? Was it taken this week? They want to know your current look. So even if you think your general look is the same, they definitely want to see a photo that was taken very recently. Now, sometimes we ask for people with real life experience. Now, what that means is that production is interested in people with a special skill that they have gained from real life training, professional experience in a specific field, or maybe a sport or something to that effect. So, of course, you can note if you have played that in the past, like let's say you've played a doctor in an acting role, and that's fine. You can note that. But when we ask for real life experience, we want to know, are you an actual licensed physician, for example? It's very important to note that if you are, because they are in fact looking for somebody who could on the fly do something that only somebody experienced in the technical aspects of a field or a sport, for example, would know. Another thing you'll hear talked about a lot, and I'm going to explain this in a way that I am assuming you may not know what I'm talking about. There is a union called SAG-AFTRA. We often ask, are you a SAG-AFTRA member in good standing or are you non-SAG? So SAG-AFTRA is a union in the United States that represents, among some things, actors. It also represents stunt performers and dancers, etc. Radio and television performers. It all falls under SAG-AFTRA. So when we are asking that question, what we're asking is, are you an active SAG member in good standing or are you not a SAG member? Anyone can apply for either a SAG-AFTRA or non-SAG-AFTRA role. However, for SAG-AFTRA covered roles, there is a preference of employment provision under the SAG-AFTRA collective bargaining agreement. This means that production must make every effort to fill a SAG-AFTRA covered role with a SAG-AFTRA member in good standing. If they cannot do so, they must explain why a person who is not a member is being cast. And it must be a reason that SAG-AFTRA would accept. So it's not like we can just grant a Taft-Hartley, aka a waiver, for no reason. There has to be an explanation given to the union. What's a couple other things people should keep in mind?
Something to keep in mind is if you're submitting to a project that you've previously worked on, if you could please note the date that you worked on and what role you played, because sometimes we're not able to reuse people for the same project multiple times. So it's always useful for us to know whether or not you've worked on the project. Also, sometimes we will ask for clothing sizing. We are requesting those for costuming purposes or for photo doubles or stand-in reasons. So please know your current and up-to-date sizes and make sure they're accurate when you provide them to us. When you are giving us your sizes, please make sure they are in the text body of your email and not a photo. Sometimes people submit their size sheet to us, and that's not very useful to us. We prefer it if you could type it out in the body of your email.
Right. An attached image, well, first of all, we can't copy and paste it. And secondly, if it's handwritten, sometimes we can't read the handwriting. So yeah, please definitely include it in the body of the email or keep it up to date in your profile and reconfirm that those sizes are up to date.
And we're not just talking about small, medium, large. We would like specific sizes.
Yes.
Chest, bust, waist, hips,
Neck,
inseam.
neck, sleeve. All great to know. Some general notes on communication. We do not recommend texting and emailing every day, asking for work or submitting for the same role multiple times. We don't recommend that. Don't submit for roles you know you are not appropriate for. We have literally gotten submissions from adult people to play newborns, newborn babies. And I don't mean they were submitting because they have a baby. I mean, they were submitting like they were going to play a baby. Keep in mind what you would be appropriate for when you submit. Respond as soon as you can and answer all the questions asked in a clear and concise manner. Obviously, if you're busy and you don't have the time to submit, but we are typically working in a timely manner. Some of these requests from production come in very last minute. So we are often going with whoever responds first because production may want answers very quickly from us. Let us know if you're available or even if you're not available. We would love to know either way, so we don't bother you by following up again if you didn't respond and you're actually just not available. When texting us, please include your name. We do get a lot of texts every day from a lot of different people, and we lose track. So please include your name when you're texting us.
Yes, even if it feels redundant, it's so much easier. We are texting so many people at one time. We need to be able to know who we're talking to in that moment, and the best way to do that is by being able to read your name in the text.
Also, keep us updated regarding your availability. We make best efforts to let everybody know if we've checked your availability, if there's any schedule changes, or letting you know we send out email reminders saying this is still looking as scheduled. We don't have the approval to book yet, but we wanted to let you know the date hasn't changed, that we've checked your availability for. If you take other work, feel free just to reply to that email as soon as you know you're no longer available. Let us know you're no longer available. As soon as you know, we would appreciate you letting us know. Those are just some tips and advice we have for submitting for background roles in general. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below and we'll try to answer them next time. We've been doing kind of weekly videos on a variety of topics, but we hope you found this helpful.
Thank you.